Hello everyone, welcome back to the Majjhima Nikaya Summary Series, Lesson 6, the Discourse on Aspirations, Ākaṅkheyya Sutta. Today we will explore the Discourse on Aspirations, the Ākaṅkheyya Sutta, the sixth discourse in the middle-length discourses, Majjhima Nikaya. The Ākaṅkheyya Sutta is a very special discourse because the Buddha does not tell people to abandon all aspirations. Instead, he shows us how to turn wholesome wishes into reality. Everyone has aspirations. Some wish to be respected by others, some long for peace of mind, some seek wisdom, and others aspire to attain liberation from suffering. According to the Buddha's teaching, having wholesome aspirations is not wrong. What truly matters is understanding that every result requires its corresponding causes and conditions. In Buddhism, it is important to distinguish between two kinds of desire. One is craving, tanha, self-centered desire driven by attachment and sensual pleasure, which is the root of suffering. The other is wholesome aspiration, chanda, the sincere wish to do good, improve oneself, and progress on the path of practice. The Buddha does not ask us to eliminate these noble aspirations. Rather, he teaches us how to transform them into motivation for cultivation and inner transformation. Throughout this discourse, the Buddha repeatedly uses the same pattern. If one wishes for this, one should practice in this way. This reveals an important principle of the Dhamma. If we want a particular result, we must cultivate the causes that lead to that result. If we wish to be loved and respected by our fellow practitioners, we should perfect our moral conduct and live honestly and humbly. If we want our words to be trusted and valued, we should keep our precepts carefully and ensure that our actions are consistent with what we say. If we wish to be free from unwholesome states of mind, we should guard the six sense doors, live mindfully, and avoid being carried away by external temptations. If we aspire to inner joy and peace, we should diligently cultivate meditation and learn to find happiness within, rather than constantly seeking it from the outside world. And if we aspire to develop wisdom, eliminate ignorance, and attain liberation, we must seriously walk the path of morality, concentration, and wisdom, the foundation shared by all enlightened beings. One remarkable aspect of this discourse is that the Buddha presents aspirations as a gradual path, moving from lower goals to higher ones. At the beginning are ordinary aspirations in daily life, being respected by others, earning trust, maintaining a good reputation, and receiving rightful support from the community. Higher than these are inner attainments, overcoming fear, abandoning unwholesome states, and experiencing genuine peace and happiness within. Beyond that are the attainments of meditation, which make the mind increasingly stable, clear, and free. And finally comes the highest goal taught by the Buddha, liberation from all defilements, the ending of suffering, and the realization of Nibbāna. This shows that Buddhism does not reject ordinary human aspirations. Instead, the Buddha gently guides us toward higher and nobler values, leading from worldly well-being to complete liberation. Today, many people desire results but dislike the process required to achieve them. Everyone wants good health, yet few are willing to exercise regularly. Everyone wants success, yet many avoid learning, perseverance, and hard work. Everyone wants respect, yet few are willing to correct their own shortcomings. Everyone longs for peace of mind, yet continues to nourish anger, jealousy, and attachment. This discourse reminds us that results are never accidental. They are the natural outcome of cultivating the right causes. If we want sweet fruit, we must plant good seeds. If we want a peaceful life, we must cultivate honesty, morality, and mindfulness. If we wish to develop wisdom, we must devote time to learning, contemplation, and practice. And if we aspire to liberation, we must seriously walk the path that the Buddha has shown. This is not merely moral advice, it is the law of cause and effect operating within our spiritual lives. No one can practice on our behalf. No one can give us wisdom or liberation as a gift. These attainments arise only when we cultivate the necessary causes within ourselves. Therefore, the central message of this discourse is very clear. There is nothing wrong with having aspirations, but aspirations must be accompanied by right action. All genuine accomplishments rest on the threefold training of morality, concentration, and wisdom. Morality provides a foundation of purity and integrity. Concentration brings calm, stability, and inner strength. Wisdom enables us to understand impermanence, suffering, and non-self, gradually freeing us from attachment. When these three qualities are fully developed, the wholesome aspirations we cherish naturally begin to bear fruit. On the other hand, if we merely wish for good things without transforming ourselves, our aspirations will remain nothing more than hopes and dreams. Understanding this principle helps Buddhist practitioners rely less on external help and focus more on cultivating their own inner strength. For the path taught by the Buddha is always a path of self-cultivation, grounded in personal transformation and inner development. That's all for the summary. Let's now move on to the practice.
Hello, everyone. To apply the spirit of this discourse in daily life, we can begin with the following 8 practices. 1. Clarify what you truly aspire to. Ask yourself, do I seek peace, wisdom, trust from others, or freedom from suffering? Knowing your goal helps you choose the right path. 2. Understand that every result requires its proper causes. Do not expect good results without building the necessary foundation. Respect comes from integrity. Peace comes from letting go. And wisdom comes from learning and reflection. 3. Maintain moral conduct in everyday life. Avoid lying, harming others, or acting selfishly at the expense of others. Moral discipline is the first foundation for spiritual growth. 4. Practice mindfulness and guard the sense doors. When seeing, hearing, or encountering things that disturb the mind, be aware of what is happening within. Do not allow greed, anger, or jealousy to control your thoughts and actions. 5. Set aside time each day to cultivate inner stillness. Spend 10 to 15 minutes quietly observing the breath. Regular practice helps calm the mind and strengthens concentration. 6. Learn to view life through the principle of cause and effect. Anytime you have a wish or aspiration, ask yourself, what causes must I cultivate for this to become a reality? This habit helps us become more practical and responsible. 7. Transform aspiration into motivation for practice. The Buddha never rejected wholesome aspirations. Instead, he encouraged us to turn them into energy for self-improvement and spiritual development. 8. Patiently cultivate morality, concentration, and wisdom. All genuine achievements require time. Be patient with yourself and continue building these 3 foundations. When the causes are complete, the results will naturally follow. Conclusion. The Discourse on Aspirations teaches us a very practical lesson. No one achieves what they wish for merely by wishing. The Buddha does not reject wholesome aspirations. On the contrary, he encourages us to nurture noble goals while understanding the path and the causes needed to realize them. If we wish to earn respect, we must live honestly and ethically. If we seek peace, we must learn to abandon greed, hatred, and delusion. If we aspire to wisdom, we must cultivate mindfulness and self-reflection. And if we seek liberation, we must patiently develop morality, concentration, and wisdom. These are not merely moral recommendations, they're expressions of the law of cause and effect operating within spiritual life. This discourse also reminds us to rely less on external assistance and to focus more on building ourselves from within. The Buddha's path is always a path of self-cultivation, rooted in inner transformation. In summary, the message of the Ākaṅkheyya Sutta is both simple and profound. Dare to aspire to noble things, but more importantly, cultivate the right causes every day so that those aspirations may one day blossom and bear fruit in your own life. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again in the next lesson.